Hi friends, my name is Millie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to bring you my February TBR. So first of all, let's address the elephant in the room. The shelves have changed. I don't know if this video or my unhaul video is going to be going up first, but I'll mention it in both videos anyway. I have completely rearranged all of my bookcases in my little library room because quite frankly I was completely running out of space. So there needed to be a bit of a mix-up. So it is now organised by genres, and somehow the mystery genres and like romance is down here, contemporary's up here. These ones have ended up behind me and I'm kind of loving the look of it, and it kind of means that when I'm sat here talking to you guys or reading in my reading chair, I'm looking at the fantasy shelves, which I love. So this is going to be my February TBR, but I'm also going to be filming an unhaul video today, so that might be going up before this. Who knows what the schedule is going to be. But either way, I have got rid of some books, so you can check out my Vinted. I'll link it down in the description below if you wanted to see what ones I've unhauled, see if you wanted to grab any of them. But this is going to be what books I want to read in February. So I have got quite a good selection here, I feel. February is such a dreary, dull, grey month in the UK, so that kind of just makes me want to reach for fantasy or mysteries or anything kind of a bit more cozy. So first of all, we are going to start off with Malice by John Gwynne. So over on Becca and the Books' channel, who's one of my favourite booktubers, she is doing a catch-up book club for the Faithful and the Fallen and whatever the other series is of John Gwynne's books. So the first one was Malice, and the book club discussion has gone up for that, and I'm feeling the FOMO, I'm feeling left out. I want to get into this catch-up book club, so I'm going to try and read Malice in February. But it is quite a big book. It doesn't really look very big, but it is nearly 600 pages, so it is pretty hefty, but I am very excited. I heard really good things about his writing, about his characters, that you really kind of fall in love with the characters, so I'm very excited to hopefully pick this up in February. I don't know anything about this one. I literally picked this up because Becca and the Books was doing the catch-up book club. Didn't need to know anything more than that. So I will read you out the synopsis because I don't even know what the synopsis of this book is, so we'll see. The banished lands have a violent past where armies of men and giants clashed in battle. An uneasy peace reigns, but now giants stir once more, the very stones weep blood, and there are sightings of gigantic worms. Those who can still read the signs see a prophecy realised. Sorrow will darken the world as angels and demons make it their battlefield. Young Corbin watches enviously as boys become warriors and yearns to join them, determined that he will make his family proud. It is only when everything he knows is threatened that he discovers the true cost of becoming a man. As the kings look to their borders and priests beg answers from the gods, only a chosen few know that the fate of the world will be decided between two champions, the Black Sun and the Bright Star, and with their coming will be a war to end all wars. That sounds so good, very epic, high fantasy, which is exactly what I'm in the mood for. And this is quite a long series. There's 4 books in the Faithful and the Fallen series, and then there's 3 books in the next series, which I think it's set in the same world, but maybe like hundreds of years later or something. So I've got quite a bit to be getting on with, and I'm just really excited to start off with Malice. Next, in a slightly different direction, I have gone with Nectar of the Wicked by Ella Fields. So this is a romantasy, and I just absolutely adore this cover, because is that not giving Barbie Mariposa? It is literally Barbie Mariposa, and I just love that. So I am really excited to read this one. I'm just love the look of it. Beware the Fae and never trust them with your heart. For 20 years I've been an unwanted changeling. I have no name, no family, and no answers. Until an irresistibly wicked fairy begins a seductive game of cat and mouse. I am his prey, his treasure, a perfect pet. He offers a trade. He will take me to the fairy realms to assist in my search for the truth of who I am. In return, I must agree to marry him. But things are not as they seem, and soon after arriving at his wintry manor, I begin to unravel a dangerous web of lies. Far deadlier still, I'm falling in love with a monster who has no heart. I just kind of love it. Like, I think it is mainly the Barbie Mariposa cover that I'm obsessed with, but I just kind of feel like I'm gonna end up loving this. So hopefully I will get around to reading this in February and we can find out. This one is not too long either. This is a pretty short book for a fantasy. It's about 350 pages, so shouldn't be too difficult to get on with, especially because it's a romantasy. They're pretty quick to read, so hopefully I'll be able to fly through this one. Another cute, short, little fun romantasy that I've got is The Baby Dragon Cafe by A.T. Qureshi or Amna Qureshi. So this one actually came out in January and I was putting the finished copies out on a table at work the other day and it just made me realise I really, really want to pick this up because it looks so cute. The sort of finished cover is absolutely stunning and it just seems so sweet and cozy, and it's meant to be perfect for fans of Legends and Lattes, which I obviously am, so hopefully I will really like this one. When Saphira opened her cafe for baby dragons and their humans, she wasn't expecting it to be so difficult to keep the fires burning. It turns out young dragons are not the best magical animals to keep in a cafe, and replacing all that burnt furniture is costing Saphira more than she can afford from selling dragon roasted coffee. Aidan is a local gardener and local heartthrob, more interested in his plants than actually spending time with his disobedient baby dragon. When Aidan walks into Saphira's cafe, he has a genius idea. He'll ask Saphira to train his baby dragon and he'll pay her enough to keep the cafe afloat. Saphira's happy-go-lucky attitude doesn't seem to do anything but irritate the grumpy but gorgeous Aidan, except that everywhere she goes, she finds him there. But can this dragon cafe owner turn her fortunes around and maybe find love along the way? Oh, that just sounds so adorable, and there's going to be at least 2 more books in this series. I think there's the Baby Dragon Bakery and the Baby Dragon Bookshop, and I am just obsessed. Like, I just think it's going to be absolutely adorable, so I'm really hopeful I will get to this in February. And then, of course, this is kind of like, if I don't get to it before February, it's on here. Hopefully I might end up getting to this in January, but at the time that I'm filming this, it's literally the middle of January, so obviously I still have like 2 weeks of reading left to do, so maybe I'll read this in January, but it'll probably be February, which is why I'm including it here. It is The Rebel Witch by Kristen Cicerelli. So this is of course the highly anticipated sequel to The Crimson Moth, which was a kind of YA fantasy, sort of verging on adult fantasy, that just took the world by storm when it came out last year and had a very big cliffhanger at the end. So Rebel Witch is really highly anticipated by a lot of people, and I just am really hopeful that I will get to this before it actually comes out. But The Crimson Moth is a story about a witch and a witch hunter who, he doesn't know that she's a witch, but she's actually this vigilante witch called the Crimson Moth, and by day she kind of masquerades as this socialite who has betrayed the other witches, and actually by night she is this vigilante witch called the Crimson Moth, and this witch hunter, Gideon, he is determined to catch this vigilante witch. He has kind of suspicions that it is Rune, but he doesn't know for sure, so they kind of end up growing closer together, but each thinks that the other don't know that they're in it for like nefarious reasons. But it's just so good. Like, it is so good. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. I'm pretty sure that if I reread it, it'd probably be 5 stars, and who knows, maybe I'll have the time to reread The Crimson Moth and then binge Rebel Witch straight away. Potentially that might happen. I am so excited for the sequel, especially after that cliffhanger. Obviously can't really say anything about the sequel because it would spoil the cliffhanger, but I'm really excited for this one. I then have a romance that I want to pick up in February, and that is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. So this would be my first Hannah Bonham Young book, but I've heard such good things about her writing, about her romances, and I feel like this is a really good place to start. So this one is like accidental pregnancy trope, which isn't normally for me, but I have heard that she does it so well that you don't mind that it's that trope, so who knows, maybe I will enjoy it. Okay, so you're following Winifred, who has always been really wildly independent, not one to be coddled for her limb difference, and she spent most of her life trying to prove that she can do it all on her own, and then she hooks up at a party with Beau and she finds herself pregnant. Beau is surprisingly elated to step up to the plate, but Winifred is unsure of whether she can handle this new challenge. They decide to get to know each other as friends and embark on this journey together, and I've just heard that it is such a sort of healing book, and just a really gorgeous love story, so hopefully I will really enjoy this one because I do have like 3 other Hannah Bonham Young books I own to read as well, so I feel like I need to start off with Out on a Limb. I'm then kind of in the mood for a bit of historical fiction, and also I really want to try and keep up to date with my 2025 TBR. So far in January I've read 2 books off of that. I feel like I need to keep reading, obviously, at least 2 books a month. So one of those that I want to try and read in February is The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. So Elodie Harper's next book has just been announced, which is Boudica's Daughter, and that looks absolutely amazing. So I really want to start off with her first series, The Wolf Den, before Boudica's Daughter comes out. That comes out in August, so obviously I've got plenty of time, but I really want to try and get to this in February when it's kind of like the right time to read historical fiction, you know, like it's all a bit gloomy and dreary outside and you can just kind of cozy up and escape into this almost other world. So I really love that about historical fiction, and especially because this one is set in Pompeii and kind of follows is it up until when Vesuvius explodes? Something like that, I think, is what this whole series is about, but it follows this brothel in Pompeii and the lives of the women who live there, and I think it's meant to just be such a well done, well researched historical novel. A lot of my colleagues at the bookshop that I work at really love this book, so I am really excited to try and get to this in February. And then one that I also want to try and get to in February is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. I have got Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellors, but I haven't read that yet. But I know that my friend Violet really loves Cleopatra and Frankenstein, so I bought that, and then I also have now got Blue Sisters to read by Coco Mellors, and I have absolutely no idea what her writing is like other than that Violet loves it, so I trust Violet's opinion. And this one I feel like is a lot to do with grief, which means I might end up crying at this book, but that's not always a bad thing. So this one is an adult contemporary, and you're following 4 sisters, or 3 sisters I suppose now. A sister is not a friend, you're part of each other right from the start. The Blue Sisters have always been exceptional and exceptionally different. Avery's a straight-laced lawyer living in London, though she's keeping secrets that could undo her perfect life forever. Bonnie was a boxer turned bouncer in LA, but one reckless act has driven her out of the city, and Lucky's hard partying ways are finally catching up with her in Paris. Then there was Nikki, the beloved 4th sister, whose unexpected death a year ago left the others reeling. When the 3 remaining sisters reunite in New York to attempt to stop the sale of their childhood home, they find that only by returning to each other can they navigate their grief, addiction and heartbreak and learn to fall in love with life again. And then one review on the back here says it's Little Women but for the contemporary female experience. And Little Women is one of my favourite books and also favourite films of all time, so this just sounds perfect for me, so I am very excited to hopefully get to this one in February as well. And finally, I also really want to try and get to A Language of Dragons by S.F. Williamson. So this one has just been published and I own 2 arcs of it. I own both this and a special edition arc, and I also now have the Fairylit edition. So I've got 3 editions of this book and I haven't read it yet, but I've seen so many people raving about it. It's done so well for having only just been published, so I really want to try and get to this one in February if I don't read it before then. So this is Bletchley Park but with dragons. You're following Vivian, who has been recruited to uncover the secrets of a hidden dragon language, and she like basically starts a civil war, and it just sounds absolutely amazing. It sounds like the perfect kind of cozy historical fantasy for February, and I just think it's going to be a new favourite book of mine, so hopefully I will get to this soon. Hopefully in February. So there we have it. That was my February TBR. I'm really happy with all of the books that I've picked out for this month. Obviously, hopefully I will read a lot more than that, but we'll see, because obviously February is the shortest month, so you never really know how many books you're gonna get read. I feel like I do always end up reading so much less in February than any other month, which is always sad, but hopefully I will get to these books. Hopefully I'll enjoy them. Please let me know in the comments what is on your February TBR, and if you've read any of the books on my February TBR, what you thought of them. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. If you'd like to follow me on my Goodreads or my Bookstagram, the links will be down in the description below, and I will see you in another video soon. Bye!